Nearly 3 years ago today, I fell in love with a writer and he fell for me. We got married some time later. Then, earlier this year, we tried to make a family, and 9 months later, it was all for nothing. Our baby we've been waiting for, gone, taken from us in this horrid world. Neil, my poor Neil, he became so depressed that he can't pick up a pencil anymore. Our hearts seared with the pain, the loss, grief, and sorrow. Such misery made us mourn in silence. After the funeral, the silence only grew louder between us. Also after the funeral, I set my appointment to see a therapist, told him my main issue, so he handed me a notebook to write out anything needed. On my way back home, I can't help but to feel empty, and as I entered the home, my productivity and motivation felt restricted. I just couldn't take it anymore. All of the heartache was too much to bear. So I entered my husband's library room, fetched me a rope, and stood on a stool. I tied it around my neck and ceiling. I was about to jump as I felt my salty tears ran down my face, but I stopped when I heard a loud thud. I got off to find the source of the noise. It was a book that I nor my husband had bought before. It has no title, no author, nothing. Just some symbols on the hard leather cover. As I touched the book, my mind was flooded by the memories of my ancestors, all of which were Gaelic mystics, but all of them were oppressed by the followers of the Demiurge. After my vision, I flipped through the pages to learn its contents. Sadly, I have to put it down before bed. After Neil left to find other means for work, I went back to that book in the library again. I flipped through the pages to expand my knowledge about its esoteric wisdom. By each passage, I could feel myself growing stronger with its guide on numerous teachings and laws surrounding nature. After Neil came back home, I used one of the book's spells to increase his and my productivity, and it worked. Neil wrote an entire book before noon, despite its morbid subject. He even went up to me and implied that his newfound inspiration was by the passing of our baby. Which reminds me, I returned to the occult book to find more answers, and there it is, a forbidden page. But before I pressed forward, the book warned me that there would be consequences, so I stopped right there and locked it away. It has been 2 days since I laid my hands upon that accursed book I recently found. My mind had been plagued by the mysteries of what the forbidden pages behold. Not even in my dreams, I could escape its enigma. In one of my dreams last night, I dreamed of my deceased Bobby all grown up, with his features slightly off, and after that dream, I kept telling myself to not read the forbidden pages. I got to confess, despite what my beloved husband and my own productivity and motivation shot up since that spell, I casted our relationship became stronger. But all of that couldn't replace all of the potential joy and void vacant in our home. And Neil knows it too. After he fell asleep, I went back to the library room. The week of pressure cracked me. I turned the pages to its banned passages. It showed me instructions how to perform the various forms of the dark arts, even necromancy in all of its steps. And you know what they say, if it's in writing, it's worth reciting. This may be the most desperate moment I could possibly imagine. I stayed up all night learning this type of magic. As the clock struck past 6, I outlined a sigil on the library's floor. Next, I sat in the center of it, then repeated, "Crofton, come back to thy mother. Crofton, I'll love you like no other. Crofton, we'll be together forever and ever." And I looked around the room for several minutes, and nothing, the flame of hope I had in my soul, extinguished by the familiar sense of emptiness. But that's what I thought when I heard a cry ripped through in the silence. The hope reignited within me. I frantically searched for the source of the cries. I later found it, a beautiful baby boy. I picked him up into my arms, my baby back from the grave. It brought tears to my eyes. Neil soon busted into the room, worried. I explained everything to him, and in disbelief or madness, he ran out of the house laughing without taking anything. It broke my heart, but I got to stay strong for Crofton. After my husband of 3.5 years left me, the baby and I had a fun day together to get our minds off it. Nightfall approached, so we laid down in bed together, with my arms shielding him from the horrors of this horrid world. Earlier this morning, I woke up from something odious from Crofton. My son, unresponsive to my touch. His skin bloated and fluids oozed from him. When he died once, it was enough to make me depressed, but him dying twice drove me mad. I felt my mind crack at this horrific scene. It made me wail. I gave up, but not just yet. I went back to the library room, baby in hand to start from square one. But this time, he died once more, only 12 hours later. However, I refused to give up.
I don't understand. I followed the damn instructions. I read the damn passages carefully, and I said these damn words perfectly. I mean, it worked, but only momentarily. With each resurrection of my little one, his lifespan cuts down each time. First it was 24 hours, then 12, 8, 6, 4, 2, and so on. To stop this, I stored him in an ice box to preserve his still beautiful body. Plus, with each spell I cast, it took the mental and physical toll on me. My voice slowly started to become raspy due to my obsessive crying. My eyes irritated from my obsessive crying.
After the creation of the multiverse, it formed as a support system to keep the whole omniverse afloat with each reality in it. Below the omniverse lies the infinite layers of the abyss, and below that is the void. It houses dark waters and unique arcane. These waters are so potent that they manifest in obscure locations in each realm, and they can take on many forms such as streams, rivers, but mostly lakes. If a magic user is looking to increase their arcana, this is a start. But they must meet these requirements. Experience loss in more than one way. Develop a taste for madness, and most importantly, be willing to make a sacrifice. Then, and only then, the user will ascend.
Below that paragraph lies a clue where the Black Lake is. If this legend is true, I shall make my magic be strong enough to make the ultimate family and cleanse this world. It has been a while since I wrote in here, but I found more occult books by what I believe are from the Gaelic mystics, and to kill some to know what esoteric knowledge it holds. I read and studied them all, but at the end of each book is a map. So I put them all together and it looks like the mountains just above Manhattan. When it comes to this, I'm not afraid. I'm willing to take a hike up to the tallest peak. There, I'll shout from the top of my lungs to let the men, beasts, and gods know that I'll take over. It took me 50 nights to teach the summit. There, I did what I promised myself. I took a stroll down the mountain for a bit and there it is, the Black Lake by my feet. But the power will be in my hands soon. Now I'm going to sacrifice myself for family, for love, for profit. If I don't make it back, I'm sorry for the harm I caused. I just want to be a mother again. If I do come back, be prepared.
I was trapped underneath that lake for over 70 years, and today is the anniversary of my late baby, Rotten. After I escaped my watery prison, I went even more crazy than I already am for a short while. My current form appears similar to when I first changed, but my long oily black hair reached my hips. My gums and teeth also became black. My eyes, oh my eyes, they replaced my empty voids. But my vision became way better than before with my newfound powers. I must continue my mission. Yesterday, I was wandering the woods, as I usually do, and I saw two boys playing. I hid behind a tree for a better look. They soon spotted me and shouted Banshee at my direction. Confused, I continued with my stroll. Word about me got around again. Now they call me Mother Banshee, which flattered me. But the fear, oh the sweet succulent fear, it's intoxicating. Last night, I heard a scream coming from a cabin in the woods. I peeked into the window to see his father beating on his son. I wasted no time. I came in and mauled that bastard to death. Putrid blood was everywhere. I turned to the boy. He was rightfully scared with his bloody nose and bruised face. I asked for his name and he said Dave Grown and Bird. He soon recognized me as an urban legend. I just carried Dave in my arms to let him know that this nightmare was over. I too brought him to the Black Lake. There, I formed a fortress around it, for this will be our new home. I'll teach him to be strong. Dave seemed to be stronger, smarter, and faster by each passing day. I don't know what else to say, but I think he's ready for the transformation. In preparation for it, I sent him off to the woods for dinner, as I set up decorations. When Dave returned, he had a surprised look on his face. I wrapped his body around in dark cloths and said an oath. Fear, horror, and hunger, these primordial instincts are the tools for our right to be one with the terrors of the night. With our might, the world shall see its black and white. I soon lowered him into the Black Lake. Dave didn't flinch. Then I took him out. When the bubble stopped with his form anew, darkness. His skin molded to be gray. His head looked into a buzzard, but made of leather. After he woke up, he didn't remember anything, so I told him that I'm his mother and he'll be this world's savior. I admit, I felt bad for lying, but what's the point of a savior without followers? It took us several months, but we did it. Me and Dave, now named Crone, amassed over 365 people from the counties of New England. I removed their insides and mixed my resurrection potion with the Black Lake's waters and my blood. It resulted in a tar-like substance. With one drop in their empty chest cavities, it brought them back to life with their wounds healed. They also obedient, making me a goddess to these creatures. I nominated them as my children and sent them off to snatch up more victims. As my empire expands, I made a personal circle named the Pump, which have 5 members, but one of them I have a hard time trusting. In other news, Crone told me that we have worshippers that call themselves Clan Capper Benson. When I was on a stroll in the woods around my fortress, I saw a strange man in stranger clothes with the strangest aura I felt. As I got closer, he vanished, but a week later, there he is again. In the same spot as last time, I went up to him before he vanished once more. I asked him what he is. He answered,
"It's an entity non-native to this world,
or something like that. He could call himself
as Oblivion."
I became even more fascinated with him. I later convinced him to join my cause with a few details left out, of course. I can't believe it has been a whole year since I wrote in here and a lot of things happened. Oblivion reminded me of my poor all. Dear Neil, all of those years ago. Both of them have shared such in-depth knowledge, occupation, and love with me. At the time of writing this, I'm 7 months pregnant. I guess Crofton will have a sibling soon as I remake the world into my image. I thank Oblivion for his cooperation, but his love will never replace Neil's. In the new world, he'll be downgraded as one of my underlings. I can't just wait to be an actual mother again. For now, I can't do much. I just have to wait. Even after the delivery, the upcoming war is going to be a problem. I'll write back when something's interesting.
I don't know what happened. My confusion is immeasurable and I can't put it into words. But when I regain my hands on my diary, some of the pages are missing and one of them mentioned this Oblivion character and that I